Building relationships are fundamental in adult education or any education. When you're fostering a caring and engaging, inclusive environment, students tend to succeed. They feel supported. When students feel they are being supported not only academically but socially, it becomes their mode of motivation. And we all know how it feels to be motivated, because if you feel like you're part of the institution, it motivates you to continue further. The most important aspect a college professor and instructor um, should do, they should have the ability to build interpersonal relationships with their students. It's necessary for them to have effective transmission of ideas, interests, goals, and understandings that promote critical thinking and the content knowledge that improves the development and in the classroom foundation. So if they can just lay down that foundation immediately and let students know where they're coming from, I think it's important to know what the outlook is going to be. So that goes to building a rapport is vital for student learning and profession and the processes of information. Because in order for students to understand something and process, they have to know who they're with and how they're going to absorb this information. And a lot of that can be done through active participation. And it's important for teachers and students to share a co-responsibility in their education. So you know how that looks is that teachers relay the information, students get the information, but at the same time, communication is very important. If a student misses a concept, it's vital to keep misunderstandings away, because students have this perception of what the class is going to look like even before they get in the class. But until they see everything, all the information in front of them, that's when it's beneficial for them to engage in the respective course, because all those expectations that they had generally either go out the window or they improve the learning process. So it's important to integrate life experiences and guide learning through suggestions and those life experiences. Another important aspect to adult learning is understanding adults' experiences. There are resources for the instructor and other students. One of the best practices for engaging adult learners is to include inquiry, analysis, and decision making to gain a better understanding of their thought process. Because not only are you engaging their thought process, you're also trying to figure out what the teacher's thought process when they're given the information. So, why would they say that? So, what would that thought look like? What does that processing look like? And also, this is a way for students to participate actively. Not every adult learner is going to be vocal. Some are passive, some are shy. So you might be reeling those shy and passive learners in by just letting all the information out, by actively participating and learning as well with them. So it's important to design a structured activity. Even if you do something unstructured, structure is good not only for children but for adults. In a comforting environment, include humorous talks. It relieves educational stress and anxiety. For instance, make learning fun and interesting. Provide guidance and alternatives and differentiate tasks and also materials and resources. I think that's very important, that you lean on those learning goals and skills and educational training that respect differences culturally, and it also assists diverse learners. So um, we all don't learn alike. We all haven't had the same learning background. So in order to get those diverse learners in culturally, you have to design learning based on relevant issues to unlock prior knowledge and connect new ideas. So we might learn one way, but there's all these ways to learn things. So in order to pull them in, you got to connect those ideas with what they learned in the past and their experiences and their culture to diversify learning. It's important to implement norms, integrate routines, as well as having understandings about students' culture, religious preferences, family, intellectual capability, as well as, like I mentioned before, those personal and physical experiences in the classroom and online. Any kind of platform you want to integrate all these different ideas. Students have a need for the ability to coordinate and adjust their instructions and develop proficiencies and competencies to engage educational equity. So basically, you're going to embed choices, you're going to embed responsive voice, compassion. You're going to have lessons that encourage opinions and feedback that are socially relevant to meet the expectations of whatever the subject is. Effective instruction is key to students gaining proficiency and retrieving scholarly information through assigned topics and enhanced participation in a sense of self-direction and an effective learning outcome. So those are the things that students need. But the only difference is that I find a little bit hard is the supporting culture, diversity, and Christian worldview, because an instructor doesn't want to give too much away about their culture, but you want to give enough to show that you're fostering awareness, that you're taking a responsive approach to their opinion and their perspectives, and you're encouraging meaningful conversations on similarities and difference among worldviews, allowing students to guide the conversation. So when you're talking first, you want to give them a little bit about yourself and allow them to guide the conversation, but in a respectful manner, that everyone can understand your strong faith and other strong faith, and as well as the religious walk. It's hard to be a teacher and explain this to young adults, but being that we're in such a social society and all these different social justice movements going on, I think it's best to design this and teach in mind to those who are in front of you. So instead of just doing it all verbal, you want to design it visually. You want to design it in different dialects. You just want to be universal in this conversation. And thank you. That'll be all.